Now, some of you may remember this recycled frame, as I did show it to you a few videos back. It has an interesting metallic background, and I want to add a small assemblage piece to it. For that, I use this little canvas. I strengthen it by adding some cardboard in the back. I added texture by using lace and my gel medium. Now here on the table you see all kinds of bits and bobs. I pulled out everything that was mechanical, some handyman items, some broken electronic parts, some small tools, and so on. In today's video, I will cover 3 different projects, and like always, I will try to show you all the important parts. I will give you some close-ups, so in between, but then at the end of the video, I will show you all 3 completed and explain a few details. Like always, you will find anything you need to know in the captions, so please enjoy the music, enjoy the process, and I will be back with you soon. Now here are two more substrates I would like to work with. This one I just picked up at a thrift store. As you can see, it's quite damaged, and I will remove all the papers. But I love the dimensional bits, and I think with some of my own ideas I can turn this into an interesting background. And now the round piece here on the left is something I created probably a few years ago. I love the colors, I love the texture, and I want to reuse it for something better than it was before. So I start by working with these two balls. The orange one is a toy and the little white one is made out of styrofoam. I add some holes using my wood burning tool and some wire, and you will see very quickly where I go from here. I will use some of my beads and then also bits and pieces from my jewelry stash. All right, and on to yet another project. Here I draw the shape of a bird on simple cardstock. I will turn this into another assemblage, and for that I will mostly use my jewelry bits, but also some simple bottle tops, some other plastic findings, especially for the initial shape. Now you can see that I already worked on the background. I added a wooden die cut of a keyhole I had in my stash for a long time. I added a small charm of a bird there on the bottom, lots of texture paste here and there, some blue acrylic paints, some splatter, and my waxes in purple and pink, and I really like the way it came out. This is the set of hands from a wall clock, and because they are shaped like branches, they will work well for a perch for my bird. Before I went further, I also made a separate wing that will help me with the overall structure. So today you saw me work on 3 separate smaller assemblage pieces, and here they are. I of course completed them, and I want to give you another look. Now I believe that you saw most everything I did to them, but there were a couple small additions I did at the very end when I was finished filming. So for this little guy here, I added some dangles. It just fits so well with a reflective background and gives it some movement. These are made from handmade paper beads, and I was able to adjust the color just a little bit to fit the teal I used on the main piece. I of course used gold for the contrasting color. There is a big gold cabochon here under the fly. There are a couple of tiny ones. I also added a couple of silver screws just to complement the silver hardware I had to use on the dangles and on the little handle. I added this mainly to cover up some unsightly holes. So here he is, my big fly, with the nice iridescent wings. So that was part 1. And second, I worked on the spider here. He also got the liquid glitter on all its eyes. That makes that nice iridescent look. A little bit of that also went on the wings for the flies. So here he is with his artificial limb, and of course I changed the color here to silver to match his leg. Now the leg is movable. All the little pieces can be turned around the wire. And here on its back, I added a tiny little cabochon. It fit perfectly into this piece of jewelry and matches the background part here. So there is my spider, and I'm glad I was able to reuse this background, as I always quite liked it. It has great texture. So there is the spider, and then last not least, my bird. He was probably the most involved. It took me the longest to put him together, lots of little pieces, but I'm happy with the outcome. I'm glad I worked on the wing separately because it just helped me to give him more dimension. So when I was finished filming, all I did add a bit more of the waxes to make the colors a bit more intense, especially here on the beak, and I also gave him an eye. It's just a small brown cabochon, and I added the pupil and the light dots with my acrylic paint. I like the background. The combination of the purple and pink from the waxes and the light blue, I think, is a really pleasing combination. And all the extra pieces on it just gives it more interest. So this too has a very simple background. This is actually made from something rather heavy. You might think is metal. I'm not 100% sure, but it has a good weight. So here are my 3 pieces, and I will take them with me to a winter market, which I have this weekend. Sometimes it's nice to also have some smaller items to offer. So that's it for today. I hope you had fun visiting with me. I try to be back real soon. Until then, take care.